Hey everyone, this is Pallavi and I'm back with the 15th game of the book, Chess, the Art of Logical Thinking by Neil MacDonald. This game was played between Anand and Lautier in Biel in 1997. The opening plate was Scandinavian defense. The principles which you are going to learn from this game when applied to your own game can help improve your chess skills and overall performance. So without further ado, let's begin. So White started with e4, controlling the center and making way for the queen and the bishop. d5, the Scandinavian defense. Black goes after the e4 pawn, making it tough for White to control the center with d4. This helps Black's development but takes some extra time to get the pawn back. E takes d5. The pawn needs to be captured because if White plays e5, then they can then block support from for the pawn with c5, preventing White from playing d4. Additionally, Black can develop their bishop nicely on f5. So after d5, White captured e takes d5. Queen takes d5. The queen comes out early in the opening but has to capture the pawn. And there is another alternative which is knight to f6. So after queen takes d5, White played knight c3, developing plus attacking the queen. Queen a5. A wise queen placement, anticipating White's likely move d4, will result in a potential pin on c3 knight that Black can use to their advantage with moves like bishop to b4 and knight to e4. Now d4, White played d4, preparing a bold and energetic deployment of his pieces. Knight f6, developing towards the center, controlling e4 and d5 squares. Knight f3, White to develop the knights towards the center. c6, a forward-thinking move that prevents a potential advance in the center with d5 and also opens up a path for the queen to retreat to c7 or d8. If there is a threat from the knight e5 and knight c4, or something like bishop to d2, which might reveal an attack on the queen. So after c6, White played bishop to c4, developing the bishop on an open diagonal, controlling the d5 square and making way for castle. Bishop f5. It is a good idea to move the bishop to a useful spot before making the move e6, which would otherwise trap the bishop behind the black pawns. Plus, constant need to defend the c2 against bishop takes c2 would also prove irritating for White. So after bishop f5, now White played knight e5. Places the knight on the center while attacking the f7 square pawn. e6, defends f7 and making way for the black bishop to develop. g4, a good move. He must act quickly because playing slowly isn't an option. Black's position is solid, so White should maintain their initiative by gaining more space and pressurizing Black's pieces. The best way to do this is by advancing the pawns on the king side rather than a timid king side castling short castle, which wouldn't fit the situation. So Black played bishop to g6. The bishop moves back and now it's White's responsibility to maintain the pressure. Otherwise, Black will successfully develop all their pieces and have a strong position. So h4, good move by White. Now there's the unsettling possibility of h5 looming over the bishop, and if it goes to e4, it will face significant risks. Let's see. Knight b d7. Seeing no remedy to White's push on the king side, Black makes the best of things by challenging the strong White knight. knight takes d7. It is important to observe that white's pawn moves while aiming at h4 to h5 have not only made their development slower but also made their kingside structure less secure. With the king in the center, if white loses control, these issues will benefit black. So it's crucial to maintain the initiative. For instance, white's strong position would quickly diminish after knight takes g6 and then h takes g6. So white played knight takes d7, black captured with the knight, and white played h5. White continues with the strategy before black can weaken their pawns by playing h5 on their own. Bishop e4, the only safe square for this bishop. If now f3, then d5, bishop to d5 achieves nothing for white. So white played rook h3. The rook is well placed on h3, not only to swing into action in the center, but also it defends c3 against attack by bishop b4. Bishop to g2. Black seeks to gain time by attacking the rook, as after rook g3, bishop d5, he is ready to play bishop d6 and attack the rook. So white played rook e3. The rook occupies a central square, but is it in a strong position or just vulnerable to black's pieces? Let's find out what happens in the game. Knight b6. Black attacks the c4 bishop as part of his plan to play knight d5 and bishop to b4. Bishop b3, d3. Because after bishop b3, the bishop no longer guards the a6 square, potentially enabling black to play queen a6 with the threat of queen f1 check. This move surprisingly brings the black queen and bishop into coordination. With the white bishop on d3 right now, white can use the powerful maneuver of bishop d2, followed by a hidden attack on the black queen using knight b5. Hence, black needs to take action promptly. So, after bishop d3, knight d5. At first glance, black's opening seems entirely successful because both the white rook and the knight are threatened. However, it appears that black may have overlooked the fact that one of their own pieces have ventured deep into enemy territory on g2, this bishop. White immediately played f3, trapping the bishop on g2. If now knight takes e3, then bishop takes e3, followed by king f2, bishop h3, queen h1, white will have two minor pieces for a rook. So, white after f3, now black played bishop to b4. The bishop is also cornered in the variation knight takes c3, then b takes c3, queen takes c3 check, bishop to d2 attacking the queen and the queen is supporting the rook. Queen takes d4, king f2. Though here black would emerge with three pawns for it after bishop takes f3 and king takes f3, this was the best fighting chance for black. Despite the fact that in the middle game, a bishop normally proves more valuable than three pawns. But black played a bad move, bishop to b4. King f2. The king sidesteps the pin and begins to hunt down the stranded bishop. Bishop takes c3. Black must try to inflict as much damage as possible on the white position, as if bishop h3, then knight takes d5, queen takes d5 and king g3 will win piece for nothing. So bishop takes c3, b takes c3 and then queen takes c3. A strong move that simultaneously attacks the a1 rook and the d4 pawn. If only the rest of the black pieces could provide some support to their industrious queen and knight, Unfortunately, the rook on h8 is still inactive and the bishop on g2 is barely contributing. Rook b1. Anand has all his pieces, including the king, doing their either defensive or attacking jobs. This excellent teamwork helps fend off the aggressive black queen. Queen takes d4. Black picks up a second pawn and prevents king takes g2 in view of knight takes e3 check when it is white who suffers a disastrous loss of material. So now white played a good move. Rook takes b7. In addition to trapping the g2 bishop, white's winning strategy involves a second theme, a straightforward tactical use of their more active pieces, which function in perfect harmony, much like a disciplined army. Rook d8. If instead kingside castle, then bishop takes h7 check, wins the queen by discovered attack. Therefore, black can only play a sound centralizing move and hope for the best. Rook to d8. h6. Every white piece is doing its duty, so now it's the moment to use a pawn to demolish black's defensive wall on the king side. G takes h6. If instead knight takes e3, then bishop takes knight, queen e5, h takes g7, rook g8. If the queen takes the pawn, then the king will take the bishop. So rook g8. And then the king cannot take the bishop because the white bishop is under attack by the queen. So right now, white's best move is to play queen c1, defending the bishop on e3 and so threatening the bishop on g2. Queen h2, then bishop f4 attacking the queen, queen h3, and then bishop to g3. And having shut out the black queen, white is ready to launch a checkmating attack with queen a3, then queen e7 checkmate, or queen g5 and then queen e7 checkmate. So this is quite good for white. So after h6, black did not capture the rook on e3. Black did g takes h6. Now white played an excellent move, bishop to g6. A striking move entirely in line with the position's logic. White is right to seek a decisive way to fend off the black attack. Given their significant advantage in firepower, the black bishop on g2 and the rook on h8 are essentially sidelined. If black accepts the offer, the queen offer, queen takes d1, then rook takes e6 check. This pawn is pinned by the bishop. Then knight e7, rook e takes e7 check, king f8, bishop takes h6 check, king g8, and bishop takes f7 checkmate. So after bishop g6, now black played knight e7, seemingly choosing a less dramatic way to lose, as relieving the pressure on e3 results in leaving the bishop on g2 to its fate. Okay, so now white played queen takes d4. Black captured, rook takes d4. Black hopes to fight on after bishop b2, which is a bad move because of rook d2 check. And if rook takes e6, then h takes d6. So after rook takes d4, now white played rook d3. Anand swaps black's active rook. When you have a winning position, it's best to opt for the most straightforward rather than the flashiest method to close out the game. So after rook d3, black played rook d8. What happens if rook takes d3? Then bishop takes d3 with the double threat of king takes g2 and rook b8 check, winning the rook. So black played rook d8 and then rook takes d8 check, king takes d8, bishop d3, and black resigned as the bishop is finally lost after bishop h1, then bishop e2, followed by king g1. So you may have noticed that two pieces remained stationary throughout the game, white's bishop on c1 and the black rook on h8. However, the bishop on c1 wasn't idle. It played a crucial role by supporting the rook on e3 against the black queen's threats. Later, it became actively involved in a checkmating attack that black could only stop by sacrificing the trapped bishop. On the contrary, the rook on h8 didn't contribute to black's game at all. Although Lautier's attack seemed menacing, it ultimately fell short because of one of his most potent pieces stayed on its initial square, which is the rook on e8. This highlights the importance of coordinating chess pieces, a fundamental concept in chess strategy. Now, some key principles learned from the game. Piece activity. Activate your pieces early in the game for better control. Coordinated play. Coordinate your pieces effectively to maximize their impact. Exploiting weaknesses. Identify and exploit your opponent's weaknesses. Simplicity in winning positions. Opt for straightforward moves when you have a winning position. Center control. Aim to control the center of the board. Initiative. Maintain the initiative to keep the upper hand. Piece mobility. Keep your pieces mobile and ready for action. Tactical awareness. Be alert to tactical opportunities and threats. Understanding imbalances. Recognize imbalances in the position, such as piece activity and pawn structure, to make informed decisions. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this game as well. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel to show some support. Thank you. See you in the next video.